and welcome to Fifth Element Healing informational video.
Thank you for joining us today to talk about false light.
Yeah, it's kind of a big deal going on right now as more and more people are connecting in and feeling other presence and information coming in. There's a lot of tension building around this.
There are people out there who are saying that certain types of energy healing or beings are hijacked.
Or have been false from the beginning. So false is an interesting word. We hear false light forms around people, around information, channeled messages, beings, and a buzzword like Christed light.
So we wanted to just sit and take a moment to talk a little bit about this with you all and our perspective on how to connect in so that you feel safe and protected and
our understanding of this.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we practice, and we practice very intentionally and with a very light heart actually, because we only align with the highest divine light aspects of the I am presence.
And we always offer everything up that we do to the highest good and with a blessing to all. It's our catchphrase, kind of.
It is. And remembering that when you say that, that includes yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that we would say when you're including that is then when you drop into your heart, our hearts, how does it make you feel when you've called in a being or beings or energies or whatever you'd like to call it?
Does connecting in with that being make you feel in your heart center? Does it make you feel like you've connected in with the I am, with the divine, with that Christed light presence?
Do you get that whoosh of yes, or does it feel edgy?
Or do you suddenly get foggy in your mind?
Or feel a little like confused with it?
Or a little dizzy or off balance?
Yeah, these are all indicators and can kind of feel scary that you're dealing with something that we call false light, because it's like it's too good to be true.
Mm-hmm. And so what do you do if that happens? You disconnect, you ask it to leave, and you again say, I only allow the highest divine light aspects of the I am Christed light energy to come into this space at this time. Everything else must leave, and it must leave now.
Right? This is not a please leave. This is a statement, because you are a powerful being.
Mm-hmm.
You are a spark of the divine I am, as actually all things in the universe are. So that brings us to another point.
Even these false light informational beings are still of the I am consciousness.
We can't dismiss an entire species for the acts or past acts of certain species.
That would be like other divine beings looking at the human race and saying, oh, well, they rape, they murder, they kill. We don't want anything to do with them.
Right? That's not how it works. So remembering that everything comes from the divine, and that even though some of it is challenging for us, it's still helping us towards our higher path, because it helps us look at ourselves. And that's where our real responsibility comes from, is what are we doing with ourselves? Not what everyone else is doing. What am I doing with myself? So again, when you clear yourself, it's bringing that back into your power.
What vibration and frequency am I vibrating at that I have allowed myself to connect with something of a lower density or something of a higher density?
That's right. Remembering that fear is an amplifier of contraction.
Mm-hmm. we need to stay coherent in our own energy.
Yes. Because then that leads us to love, like what the wise doctor says.
The best medicine for humans is love.
And someone asked, but what if that doesn't work?
He smiled and answered,
Increase the dose. So again, in this time when we are accelerating our connection with the universe, which is kind of amazing, wonderful, and scary at the same time because it's a big universe.
Mm-hmm.
Remembering that love is the answer and your personal sovereignty over your energy comes from that love space. So when you come back into that love, you have the power.
If you have any questions, please feel free to comment or reach out. We are open for discussion.
Absolutely.
Or to talk on something further that may be confusing.
Yes. So bye now from Fifth Element Healing Center, 5ehc.love.
Thank you. Hi again.
Part 2 of False Light, because we just did a video and realized that there are some talking points that we would like to continue on with.
Yep. We stopped the video and started having a whole conversation and went,
Yeah, this is something we would like to share. So
the conversation was about calling in love and how that's actually not a neutral thing. However, it brings you to a neutral place.
right. And so to understand that, it's a concept that's talked about, like love is the answer. But it's like talking about if you call in abundance, it's the answer as well. But unless you know what abundance feels like, it's hard to call it in. And so understanding that love aspect and how it brings you to neutrality is what we'd like to talk about today.
So a lot of times when these beings or information comes in that it comes from that place of false light or comes from that place of lower density, what will happen for us if we're in a session with somebody is that's where we connect into that love aspect.
Right. And what we get to do and choose to do at that time is we say thank you, and you need to leave now and return back to the field of potential or back to the void from which you came, because you are not of the highest light aspect that we are holding here. And we do this with love, because it's not like I disrespect you. I just know that you're not part of what this session is for.
Because a lot of times they'll come in and they'll start to bring in that fear or that sadness, other lower density emotions. They will take things that are within a person and make them bigger than they actually are.
Right. And so we understand that that is part of life, but that is why the person is there and we're working this way, is to be able to take that trauma and turn it into wisdom, not amplify the trauma or relive it.
Mm-hmm. And so when we say calling in the love or using love in that high divine light aspect, it's because it's a counter to, in this world of duality that we live in, it's a counter to that lower density vibration that then allows the neutrality to come back.
Because that's really what I hope, what we hope, and we are really working towards, is that unity and neutrality.
Mm-hmm. It's all about unity. We all come from the divine. We all come from the I am.
Makes me grin and just have a big rush of love for all of you and us around that, because we all are.
Yeah. And so being in that neutral space, because sometimes those lower density beings, things, false light come in because there's a lesson to learn. from that.
Yes. So being grateful and coming back to love and neutrality. It's what we wish for you, what we practice ourselves. So thank you for your time on this part 2 of False Light. We look forward to your comments, questions, and conversations around this.
Thank you from Fifth Element Healing Center.
5ehc.love.